Let's face it, our offices have pretty much gone virtual. Our teams are scattered all over the globe, and the whole idea of a workplace has been turned on its head. We are smack in the middle of a legal revolution, and in this explainer, we're going to break down how our laws are racing to keep up with this brand new reality. And this isn't just some small trend either. I mean, just look at this number. A whopping 65% of companies are now offering remote work. This isn't just a phase we're going through, it's a fundamental, permanent shift in how we all work and live. The genie is well and truly out of the bottle on this one. But here is the million-dollar question. Have our legal systems, the ones that were built for a 9 to 5, everyone in one building world, have they kept up with this massive change? The honest answer? Not really. And that huge gap between how we work today and the old laws we have, well, that's creating a whole new world of challenges. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at just how much work has changed. Then we'll dive into the legal maze this has created. After that, we'll get into your rights in the digital workplace, the giant puzzle companies face with global compliance, and finally, we'll peek into what the future might hold. All right, first up, work has changed forever. Let's start by unpacking how this simple move from a physical office to an online one has created such a complicated legal maze. And that brings us to Section 2, the new legal maze. Now we're going to get into the real nitty-gritty, the core challenges that come with this new borderless way of working. Just look at the difference here. It's like night and day. In the old office setup, everything was simple. The law that applied was the law where your office was. Your boss could literally see you working. But with remote work, suddenly jurisdiction is a total mess. Oversight is all digital and way more complicated. And figuring out if someone is an employee or a freelancer is all over the map. And all of this complexity really boils down to 3 huge legal knots that are tough to untangle. First, which country's laws even apply when your team is everywhere? Second, how do you classify people? Are they employees with full benefits, or are they contractors? And third, the big one, where do you draw the line between monitoring productivity and invading someone's privacy? Okay, so this brings us to a really important question for you personally, your digital workplace rights. How are the laws actually changing to protect you in this new environment? Well, the good news is we are starting to see some key protections emerge. There's a big conversation happening about moving beyond paying people based on where they live. We're seeing the right to disconnect become a real legal thing. Of course, data privacy is more important than ever, and there's a huge push to make sure that working remotely doesn't secretly hurt your chances for a promotion. Let's just zoom in on that right to disconnect for a second, because this is a real game changer. Countries like France and Spain are actually passing laws that give you the legal right to clock out, turn off your work phone and laptop, and just recharge without any fear of being penalized for it. It's a direct shot at that always-on feeling that comes with remote work. So now, let's flip the script. What does all of this look like from the employer side of the table? Well, for companies that operate in multiple countries, it's turned into a massive global compliance puzzle. I mean, these are just some of the headaches they're dealing with. Figuring out taxes across different countries is an absolute minefield. Trying to manage things like pensions and social security in different systems is a nightmare. Cybersecurity risks go through the roof. And hey, even things like workplace safety now have to apply to thousands of individual home offices. So how are companies even trying to solve this? One of the biggest solutions out there is something called an employer of record, or EOR. Think of it like this. It's a third-party company that becomes the legal employer in a specific country. They handle all the messy local stuff, payroll, taxes, benefits, so the main company can hire the best people from anywhere without needing a law degree in every country. But here's the thing. This legal mess isn't the same everywhere. Not even close. It changes dramatically depending on where you are in the world. So, let's take a super quick global tour. First stop, the United States. It's a total patchwork. There's no one single federal law for this, so everything depends on which state you're in. This means a company could be juggling dozens of different rules, with places like California and New York really leading the charge on things like extra privacy protections. Then you've got the European Union, which is kind of setting the global standard here. Their big data privacy law, GDPR, affects companies all over the world. And now they're not stopping. They're already working on new rules for how companies can use AI to monitor employees, which is something we'll all be hearing more about soon. Over in the Asia-Pacific region, the main theme seems to be balance. You have countries like Singapore and India creating new guidelines for flexible work that really try to protect employees' well-being while still giving businesses the room they need to grow. And what's really interesting is that in the Middle East and Africa, you're seeing some countries actively competing to attract remote talent. Places like the UAE and South Africa are creating things like digital nomad visas and brand new legal frameworks specifically to draw in a global workforce. They want to be the next big remote work hubs. Okay, last section, navigating the future of work. With this tangled global picture in mind, how does anyone, employee or employer, actually stay ahead of the curve? Well, the companies that are really getting this right are being proactive. They're investing in global HR systems to make everything consistent. They're writing crystal clear policies about remote work so there's no confusion. They're doing regular legal checkups to catch problems early. And this is a big one. They're actually training their managers on how to lead remote teams fairly. As we look ahead, it really feels like the future of employment law is being built on three big foundational pillars. These are the major trends that are going to define how we work for the next decade. First, there's a huge push for more global standards so that your basic rights as an employee are similar whether you're in Berlin or Bangkok. Second, we're going to see a lot more AI used to automate compliance, to help sort out that legal maze we talked about. And third is a massive focus on worker sustainability. Things like protecting gig workers, supporting mental health, and just making sure work is a fair and ethical place to be. You know, this quote just nails it perfectly. Remote work is not only a technological shift, but a legal and ethical transformation. This whole thing isn't just about getting new software or faster internet. It's about completely rewriting the rulebook for the relationship between a company and its people. Which leaves us with one final and pretty critical question to chew on. As our work becomes truly borderless, without a central location, can our laws, which are fundamentally built on the idea of borders and physical places, ever really keep up? The answer to that is going to shape the future of work for every single one